But we're going to move on to Milan against Sassuolo, which was, I thought, such a fascinating game this weekend. Sorry, I am going to be hanging all sorts of conversations in my mind at the moment in terms of Italy's World Cup progress or lack thereof. But this game, Milan against Sassuolo, had me dreaming of a whole different Italy. In fact, on our Q&A podcast this week, Mina, you and I talked about our preferred starting 11s for the World Cup playoffs. And I was watching Domenico Berardi dovetail with Gianluca Scamacca, and him scoring two brilliant goals and thinking, maybe. Sasha, I feel like we've just had lots from me and Mina. What did you make of Sassuolo in this game? What did you make of Scamacca and his two goals at San Siro?
Well, that got was the first goal, the second goal outside the box was just absolutely unbelievable. But I think to deviate from that a bit, there's a common theme here with Milan these last two games in the Serie A at least. Conceding 7 goals, and there's one man missing, which means he probably should win the Ballon d'Or given his impact. But this is what happens when you have Tomori out. You have Tomori out and Romagnoli comes in, scores a goal, and then
right?
He just had his ankles broken, sent off. But this is a really nice result for Sassuolo because they've been a bit up and down this season. Lost some key players. Good that Berardi's still around. But they're just great. I think for neutrals to watch a club in Italy, I think they're one of the ones you'd want to watch. So great for them to get a result away from home and really strike a blow to Milan's title hopes, because that's 7 goals in 2 games is not what you want to see.
Mina was throwing Rugani on the waste heap of Italian defenders, and I don't mean to put them in exactly the same pot because they don't belong quite together. But Romagnoli has been bad recently, and the contrast between all right, recently is a
he's a captain that got replaced by a guy that came on loan. Like, that tells you everything that you need to know, like how much they valued him.
Yeah, I mean, it's less, I would say it's less a Rugani trajectory, but certainly a Ranocchia trajectory at Inter of plummeting sort of hopes for the young Italian centre-back at a Milan club. I despaired for him in this game, and Sasha said it right. I mean, Berardi absolutely had his ankle snapped on that third goal, after which Romagnoli gets sent off, and frankly, he was... he wasn't fortunate. Milan were fortunate that he was their first defender sent off, because Theo Hernandez could have been off about 5 minutes before that happened. They were all at sea, all at sea in this game, and I don't know. Is this just a blip? It's 2 games in a row. They were unbeaten for 12. We have given so much praise on this show to Stefano Pioli, or is this history repeating itself? Because last season they started well, and then the wheels came off around Christmas, and they still finished in the top 4. And maybe that's good enough for a young team, but they didn't look like title contenders by the end of the season. And suddenly, in the middle of this season, I'm starting to ask myself, could this be the same thing again?
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, they don't have the squad depth that I think other teams possess, and they've had to deal with a lot of injuries. So whatever depth they did have has already been used and abused, frankly speaking. It's so funny because you can really tell the difference in our characters, Nikki, in the sense that you're like the light and I'm like the darkness. Yeah. Because, Nikki's watching. That's not true. Nikki's watching Milan Sassuolo and thinking how many players she can add and invite to the national team. And I'm thinking of how many players are X'd off for me. Yeah. I'm thinking, God, what a disaster. You're not coming onto my team. Like, she's like, Amaka and Berardi, so amazing.
I love this idea I've now got of Mina sat there and there's a list. It's just got red ink all over it, and all that's left is Chiellini and Bonucci next to each other, and that's it.
Idiot, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, completely. I told you, this is why if I ever owned a club, I would be like, who was it that I used to say? Zamparini. That's it. I would literally have everyone tagged. I thought this was interesting because Sasha was talking about, and I agree with you, like Tomori has really made a difference and his absence makes a difference. Romagnoli, I've never been a fan of. I think there are some games that he really steps up in and has done well. I mean, but for a captain to have been ditched and Kaye to be the man alongside a player they had on loan in Tomori, who's obviously now a stalwart of the team and one of the main leaders at the back, that tells you all you need to know about how they believe and what they see in Romagnoli. And this is a team that gives a lot of chances. Theo Hernandez, people keep talking to me about how modern football is now about how a fullback attacks. Yes, but I still think the duality of the role makes a difference. And you have to be able to not do the kind of mistakes that Theo Hernandez does. And this is two giant mistakes in a row in Serie A that has cost your team, you know? And he's lucky that it didn't cost them even more in him getting sent off. Like, he is somebody who makes my heart beat too fast. And it annoys me to watch a player that I can't trust because I don't know whether he's going to be on the pitch, whether he's going to give the ball away. Offensively, he's tremendous. Defensively, I still think there is so much there that annoys me. And when people keep talking about how did Real Madrid let the best fullbacks go, Ferland Mendy doesn't do that. He understands the duality of the role. He may not attack like Theo Hernandez, but he's very good in the duality of the role. And I think you need to know the difference. And that's what makes the side and what works for their midfield. But I have an issue here with Bakayoko. I mean, he gave away, obviously, it was his poor pass that led to the Sassuolo goal, the first goal. And I know that he got his chance because, you know, he purely really liked the way that he's been playing. But it doesn't bode well because we've been talking about the Africa Cup of Nations, and Benacer and Kessié won't be available, but Tonali will. So is the other man Bakayoko. And I feel like he's another person who, like, doesn't have the beauty of Theo Hernandez, but has a lot of the mistakes that happens there. He's that person that, you know, he was so close to a red card a few games ago when he played. He does sometimes pull off these types of, you know, drops off in concentration. I don't know. I look at this team and I think a few absences here and there, and they don't have enough to carry them through. And especially not when they're up against a side that will keep pushing. And I thought that was what was clever about Sassuolo. They didn't give up. They kept pushing further and further. It's like they had learned and seen what Fiorentina did and decided, you know what, we're going to do exactly the same. And when you play games like that, a team that has just played in the Champions League and achieved a remarkable win, there is obviously the potential for you to win that.